about is you. Don't stop, baby, you can walk too. Don't want, baby, think about you. You know that I'm never gonna lose.
What's up, people? This is Tim Hurlbut with Ambiguous Adventures, and today we're doing our long-awaited video of how much it costs to build our tiny home resort from scratch. So we're gonna get right down to it. Love it if you guys would subscribe to our channel. We're gonna spend the next few months talking about how we built this tiny home resort, the mistakes that we made, and believe me, there were a lot of them. And just talking about things that have been super valuable on our journey, whether it pertains to our Oregon Coast properties that we've had for the last four and a half years that have been extremely successful. And this tiny home resort, which is obviously a brand new venture that we are just now going through the process of all the micro adjustments now that we're actually up, open, and running. So a lot of that is based on guest feedback, and we'll continue to kind of share our progress as we go through, you know, really taking something brand new and understanding what it is our guests want, and how to make it the best possible resort that we can end up making it with the budget that we have. So having said that, here we go. So we're gonna break this whole build process and cost process into 4 different parts. So part 1 will be demo, and that's gonna be the cost that it took to get us to a bare lot. Part 2 will be the commercial building. We're gonna talk about what we had to do to salvage, restore, and renovate to a laundry/hangout room. Part 3 will be site prep, and that's where we'll talk about the dirt, the gravel, the grading, the foundations, and then having to install all the utilities. So part 4 will be the tiny homes, what it costs to build 7 of them, and everything that went with furnishing them and all the outdoor accessories. So make sure you're subscribed, and let's get right into the demo. So the property is in Idaho City, Idaho, which is about 45 minutes outside of Boise. If you want to see how it was that we ended up getting that property, I'll put a link right here so you can see how it was that we ended up acquiring this property. But we acquired this property August of last year for $610,000. So that was the acquisition price. From there, after we closed, we went through the process of having to work with the tenants to get everybody relocated. And I will tell you, by far, that was our most challenging part. And I would say for those of you looking to do something, and for future reference, if you are buying anything that has tenants, I think it's extremely important to make sure you understand what perception they're under. We were led to believe that because the owner didn't want to make improvements, which we knew of that, and we also knew that the property was in a huge state of disrepair. There were 6 manufactured homes, and they hadn't had any work done to them, and basically the property had been neglected for literally decades. So it was our understanding that the tenants were okay moving. They had a 30-day notice, and as soon as the transaction was concluded, that we would be ready to move forward, giving them their 30 days. However, once we closed, that was certainly not the case. Now, I don't know if it was the fact that we were misled from the seller perspective. We dealt with the same agent on both sides of the transaction, or if it was simply a fact of expectations of what the tenants thought. Once that process had started, we felt like, not knowing exactly what the truth was, we wanted to do as right as we possibly could. It didn't make obviously any sense for us to have bought the property and not be able to do what it is that we wanted. But we ended up giving our tenants 90 days of free rent, and we also gave them anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on their situation, towards relocation costs. So that actual cost was about $15,000 for tenant relocation, etc. And then we paid out another $15,000 in carrying costs. Obviously, the fact that we had the property for 90 days and didn't do any work. So we didn't really even start until our 4th month. So basically, going right into it, we had $30,000 worth of tenant and carrying costs as soon as we bought the property. So with that, we descended into Idaho with basically the shirt on our back and decided to start all over again. We didn't bring any of our tools from Oregon, so we bought all new tools. We spent about $15,000 in tools. I brought out two of my guys, Chris and Johnny from Oregon, and we spent essentially $15,000 between paying my guys and the rental of an excavator and a skid steer. We did get a ton done. We had huge amounts of trash, and that was the part where I really underestimated how much that would cost. So in our first round of demo, getting everything down, crushed up, and basically in a place where we could put it in the dumpsters, the trash cost for the first run of that alone was $30,000. So after we had concluded that, that's when winter came. Once winter came, we were basically in a place where we just couldn't get dumpsters fast enough. And once the snow started falling, we definitely knew we had to figure out a different game plan. It was at that point that I'd reached out and met our contractor, Tom, who actually had a lot across the street, and he agreed for a price of $20,000 to finish the demo, which included the disposal fee. So it probably would have cost us about $15,000 more in dumpsters. So for me, it was about the same price, and it saved us all the labor of having to do so. So Tom brought his crew over, brought over a sifter, basically sifted through the dirt, separated all of the wreckage from the dirt, and took it and disposed of it on his own way. So that total cost for Tom was $20,000. So if you've lost track of all the thousands of dollars that have been flying out of our bank account, let's do a quick recap of how much everything cost. So we spent $15,000 in tools. So we spent $15,000 on our first go around with Johnny and Chris and renting our own equipment. We spent $30,000 in trash, and then we spent another $20,000 with Tom to finish the job and get it all done. Total cost of that was $65,000. What do we learn from that? Well, we learned that I'm pretty stupid for sure, because I had a quote originally of $40,000 to $45,000 to originally remove the trailers and take them out of the site without demoing them on site. So that was definitely a huge learning curve. I think what tricked me is the fact that I called to rent equipment and it was only $3,000 for a week. So that sounded pretty reasonable. I just had absolutely no idea how much trash was going to cost. In my head, when they told me a 40-yard dumpster and I thought about them as I drove by them, I thought maybe 2 or 3 would fit each manufactured home. And it was honestly more like 10 per unit, which is like 60 dumpster full. So there was a lot of huge learning lessons in this. And if you really want to know just how stupid we were, I'll show you a couple of outtakes. I mean, it really was like Dumb and Dumber at certain points. I love my guys. We were definitely in a new arena here, but yeah, we were definitely stupid. Here's some quick examples.
Yeah.
Any issues with the disconnects?
We had the power shut off, but we still had power on the wires.
You still have power on the wires?
Yeah, they were short. I saw sparks.
Okay. So how did you mitigate that? You just shut it off with a breaker or what?
It fixed itself.
Okay, got it.
We flipped the breaker somewhere.
Okay, got you. And what about the sewage hookups?
That, I don't know.
You never saw anything?
No.
Interesting. Is that scary? Because...
Yeah, kind of.
Careful. Got some tree falling shit going on here. Better get out of the way. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit, oh shit. Watch out, Johnny, Johnny! On the pro side, we did learn how to kind of run this heavy equipment. It really paved the way for an eventual upcoming tractor that we bought, so pretty stoked about that. But really, ultimately, I think the biggest lesson is I should have taken the time to have met Tom in the beginning. Tom had a lot across the street. He could have pulled them across the lot and dismantled them there and saved us both a bunch of money. But again, life is learning, failure is learning, and that's all been part of this journey. So next week, we'll talk about how much it costs to do the commercial building and renovate that, get that turned into our laundry room, and what our future plans are with that. Stoked for you guys that have come along on this journey with us. We look forward to continuing to give you the information of everything that we went through and what it cost us. And if you've got any comments on anything you want to know about or just how stupid we are, feel free to leave them below, and we will see you in the next one. Peace. That's a driveway, yeah, and I put road mix there, everything's there. So yeah, just back it right up to that pile and that'll be next.
All right.
So thank you so much, bro. Appreciate it.